Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Neighborhood Pro video series. I'm Chris Miller with Remax Elite and the Property SWAT team lead. And today we're excited to have a special guest, Trevor Aboussafy, and he is a home repair professional. So thanks for joining us today, Trevor. And I just want to introduce you to our sphere. Say hello.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Great, great. Well, again, thanks for joining us on our Neighborhood Pro series. So, of course, getting a chance to be in front of people isn't as easy as it used to be with the pandemic. So that was the initial reason for this video series. And just, regardless of what's going on in the world today, I'm finding it actually quite nice to just be able to have a face-to-face interview, regardless of what's going on in the world, because people now get a chance to see who it is that they might want to call, not just a phone number. So really excited to see we could join you on video today.
No, I've watched a few of your videos now, and it's a really good thing you're doing here. A small contractor like me has sometimes a hard time walking into a customer's home and speaking with knowledge and authority because you have such a brief introduction to people. So this chance to sort of see people in advance of me coming over to their house really makes a big difference, I think, in the trust level between the customer and the contractor, and the feeling that the people you're hiring actually know what they're talking about. So thanks a lot for having me on the show, and I really appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, it works for both of us, right? So one of the things I always love to share with people as well is we only interview people on this show, Neighborhood Pro, that we've actually had personal experience with and professional experience with our clients. So obviously you're here today because we've got a relationship professionally working with clients together, and that goes a long way as well. We're not just going to put people and faces up here. We want to make sure people have an idea that they can trust the people we're interviewing here. So again, so we'll get started here. I guess a little bit about you, Trevor, and a little bit about your business. So the first question we had on the list here was just to tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now and why. What brought you to this part in your career?
If I think about what got me here, I have to go back to my early 20s when I started working in construction.
Okay.
I started working doing laboring and things like that, and I got into carpentry as a trade and eventually became a site manager for a building or for a home contractor. So I was building houses and a fairly large volume of houses and learning a ton of stuff. And around 2013, the real estate market really kind of softened a bit, and builders were laying off their employees, and I went from there back to, because I couldn't find a job as a manager, I started working on the tools again. Went back into framing, building decks and fences, things like that.
Okay.
And went into the sales and design side of things, and I started doing kitchen design and doing storage solution designs. And that was very educational. I learned a lot of stuff about that, but just basically came to the realization that I wanted to be more in control of my own schedule and my own customers. And when I ventured out on my own, I started doing a lot of handyman jobs, and that was kind of when you and I got acquainted, was right around the time I was starting to do that. And we've been doing handyman work together for quite a while now. And the other thing is I'm trying to take my business in a direction of the things that I really like doing.
That's great. And then obviously I like to let people know a little bit about you personally. So outside of your career, tell us a little bit about Trevor. So born and raised and what you do, your dad, a little bit of that.
I born and raised in Edmonton. I lived in southern Alberta for a period of about 5 years. And so I have a little bit of experience, and I've got some old friends down in the Lethbridge area. I lived in Brooks for a while. So like every 20-something Albertan male in the early 2000s kind of you had to go work in the oil patch for at least a couple of weeks. So I did that. It's where I learned how to do some welding. And then I came back to Edmonton. I got married, we had a son. He's now 12, and now I have found uh, who I think is the perfect partner for me. That's my girlfriend, Patty.
Mhm.
And she is also divorced and has a son from her first marriage. So I have my 12-year-old son and I have a 7-year-old stepson.
Excellent. Well, that's a good overview. Thank you for sharing so much. I guess what I would take from that is you have a lot of life experience and you've done a lot of different things and you're a family man. You know what? And there's I think a lot of those traits that what people want to know, just in general about knowing the person behind the job is also someone who has a lot of morals and ethics and values and trying to help
Mhm.
others. And I guess, I already know that about you, but that was great to be able to pull some of that life experience out and just say, that's why Trevor's in our life. So good.
Absolutely.
So next question we have here is share some examples why someone should choose you when they need a repair professional. Like, what are a couple things you love to do?
Yeah. So, like I said, the things I really love to do are those exterior renos.
Okay.
For some reason, building a deck is just always giving me a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not usually what people are calling me from
Mhm.
is for a repair job.
Right.
Uh, Repairs are I've also found that fixing things is very satisfying for me. So I do a lot of jobs where I come into a person's home and maybe they don't have an idea of how something can be fixed, but they want to know if it can be fixed.
Right.
And because of the wide diversity of experience that I have across multiple industries and multiple trades, I
Mhm.
have a really sort of global view about how to fix things. And I can often come up with a repair plan or some kind of a solution to a problem that is maybe a little bit outside the box.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to do those things. And so, if you have a lot of people worry about, well, let's say you have a broken cabinet door, right? And you call a cabinet contractor. Well, that cabinet contractor might try to sell you a lot more cabinetry than you actually need, right?
Hmm.
Because that's their business, is building and installing new cabinets. So can't blame them for that.
Hmm.
Uh, but it might be, you don't want to, if you can spend a couple $100 fixing something, you don't want to spend several thousand replacing your kitchen when you don't have to.
Right. Right.
So because I don't have an interest in selling,
Hmm.
several $100,000 renovations all the time, where
Hmm.
I really make headway with customers and why most people call me and why most people hire me is because I'll come into the house and I'll say, well, I'll ask them what their goals are, what their dream, what is the intention here to sell the home? Is it to just have it working again? Is it to beautify the space so that you're more happy with it as you're living in it?
Yeah.
And then provide recommendations that lead to those goals that are going to be beneficial for the customer, right?
Yeah.
So if I can patch a ceiling, you can see my ceiling behind me. It's got all kinds of patches in it
Hmm.
because it was falling down when I bought the house. But if I can patch the ceiling, well, I'll just patch the ceiling instead of recommending, as a drywall and ceiling contractor that we need to take the whole ceiling down and do this and
Start
fix
over.
that and
Right.
paint and
Mhm.
end up basically telling you need to spend a lot more money than you do. So when we're talking about why people should hire me, there's a lot of reasons why I think they should hire me. But the initial reason why you should call me is just to have that conversation about what is possible for repairs,
Right.
what can be fixed. Unfortunately, I had a customer called me about a deck repair and they had damaged their vinyl decking
Mm.
just a couple of days ago. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't repair that. It's
Yeah.
just, there's no way to really do it that's going to look good. So you either have to replace it or you got to think of something else. But and I'm happy to tell people that as well. I won't ever ask somebody to spend money that they're not comfortable spending, and I'm not going to recommend projects that you don't need. And that's really why I think I get as busy as I do doing the repair work, is because
Mm.
I keep getting referred. People keep saying,
Mhm.
yep, Trevor knows what he's talking about. He can fix anything. He's not going to try to come in and oversell you product you don't need.
And I like that, Trevor. And like just to give a couple examples myself too, is when you don't have an ambition to sell something to someone, then there's that honesty and that integrity that comes through the scenario where, hey, if you'd like to fix this door, if you'd like to fix this flooring, then yeah, I don't have a product to, sell you. Go to the store, mark it up, do all the
Mhm.
deliveries, get it all done. And there's an element there that I really think is where our relationship has gelled and really blossomed, is
Yeah.
when you're not out to sell a product and you're there to just satisfy the customer's need. That is really an outstanding scenario to be in, because you're not obligated to try to profit off of a product itself. It's about
Mhm.
making sure that person gets what they need. Now, I'll just mention here, your services. A lot of people, well, I don't need to sell my home, or I'm just not sure. Maybe I just moved into a home and they
Mhm.
don't really know if they want to do everything. And so, just to reiterate, you are not somebody I engage just because I'm a real estate agent and I'm helping people sell. I
Mhm.
do have people that use your services because they're living somewhere. And so that's nice, the nice boundary too. It's not just about the real estate market. It's sometimes about a need for someone who, let's face it, a lot of people don't know how to swing a hammer.
Mhm.
Good, good.
Yeah, who like lots of people buy houses that they don't, it's not everything they want to be, but it's close, right? So like maybe one of the people who's listening to this now is recently bought a home that doesn't have a deck on it. Well, you should certainly call me to
Mhm.
do your deck, even though, I've been talking about repair services here and things, because I'll be happy to talk to you about your deck. I'm happy to talk to people about painting. I'm happy to talk about repairs, about flooring. If you have a larger flooring job,
Mhm.
then absolutely I can talk to do any of those things that make people want to live in the house that they're in. We're definitely capable of talking to people about those things as well.
Absolutely. So the next question we have on our list here is just, we've done a little bit of this already, but is there an actual client experience that you've had recently that was just so positive you just wanted to kind of share that little scenario that came?
Specific, I was going to bring up the that last job that we did together on that condo actually.
Mhm.
The It turned out really nice, and the customer, your customer and my customer, as she ended up texting me, and she had a disability, so doing a lot of these little things was really not tenable for her, right? Like, so I ended up hanging up a curtain for her too, and just don't take care of it, no worry, no problem, it takes me 10 minutes, not a big deal, I'm already here.
Mhm.
And when it was all done and everything was finished, she sent me a text message and just said, thank you so much for taking care of all of that. You don't know how much that means
Right.
to me, to be able to not worry about getting all those other little projects finished.
Yeah.
And she said, I will definitely recommend you to anybody in the building who is looking for work, or any of my friends that are looking, because you've been so great to deal with. And that really just made me feel awesome. She was a great customer too, really nice lady, and I liked working with her. But at the end of the day, when you get a message from a customer, you haven't just
Hmm.
fixed something for them,
Yeah.
you've actually improved their life,
Yeah.
or made it things easier for them so that they can move on from whatever it is that they're having a problem with now.
Mhm.
That is a really, really positive experience for me. So
Absolutely. And you know what? When I've got someone I can count on like yourself, Trevor, and whether it be a friend or a family or a client, that makes me look good as well. And that makes me feel good that my clients and my sphere of influence are taken care of. And I think that's one of the great things about this Neighborhood Pro series that we're doing, is to just be surrounded by people. I get to help your business. You get to help satisfy people's needs. And together we all get a chance to just find that cohesion and that just really good opportunity to know that we can have a great community around us. So thank you for that. It's a big part of our relationship. Mhm. To bring things full circle now and talk
mhm.
about what we'd like to emphasize for our viewers today, I have a couple things that I really got out of today, and I just want to see what you can add to it. But I think what I think our viewers would really like to just reiterate what they should focus on today is two things that I heard. Number one, just the ability to not be working with someone who has a product to sell. You have a need to fulfill, and you're there to help provide that service to help get people get to that next stage. And secondly, when you don't have a product to sell and that you have that general, I can kind of do everything, but I'll be honest if something's a bit overwhelming, that integrity that pops through is really that emphasis, of who can we trust today? I mean, let's face it, we live in Western Canada. There's a lot of rumors in the background, that how can we trust any contractors today? There's a lot of, not very well equipped contractors and or honest with integrity contractors or handyman out there. So that's the second, part that I would like to emphasize today is, someone like yourself who's got that integrity. So, but I'm sure you've got something else for yourself. And I just wanted to say, what can you add to that list for our viewers today?
You know what, there's, whether somebody's talking to me or somebody else, I like to give people a couple of pieces of advice. Because so what you want to look for when you're hiring somebody is, it's not just about price. A price is a huge part of any job, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But if your contractor comes in and you're telling them things like what you would look for, what your goals are, what your needs are, and they're going, yep, no problem, maybe they're not. Consider if that person's actually listening to you.
Right.
And if they're not listening to what you really want, what is the chances that you're going to get what you really want?
Right.
The other thing that I wanted to add to is, I always tell people, if the person you're hiring is inexpensive and available now, there's a reason for that. I get it. I often get some people call me and they're disappointed and they need something fixed because they're going to put the house on the market next week. Right. And I'm like, well, my schedule is completely full. Anybody who really knows what they're doing, right, and has good prices is going to be booked up.
Right.
So if it's a larger project and you want to have a good job at a good price, you be prepared to wait a little bit. If it's a small job, like it's you need a hole in the drywall fixed, or you need a cabinet door repaired, or I don't know, what are the 800 other little things that come up? You need
toilet, a bathroom vanity, something simple, pop in, pop out.
Yeah. You need, yeah, exactly. You need a new countertop on the bathroom vanity. You need some doorknobs fixed. You need a light fixture replaced, or a new faucet or something. Like, if it's just a small job like that, you can usually squeeze it in somewhere. So that doesn't follow the same rule. But if it's a small job, like if I have a half day planned somewhere else, I can come in, I can do your countertop in the second half of the day, and I can fill my schedule up that way. But if it's a larger job, you need to make sure that you're planning ahead for the availability, because if somebody comes in and they've got the lowest price and they want to start tomorrow, that should be another red flag for you, especially if they want to start tomorrow and they want you to pay in advance.
No, I appreciate that. Well, again, I appreciate you were able to join us here, Trevor. It's been a great conversation. I think our viewers got a lot out of, a couple of tips and tricks, but also a real good sense of who you are. So we're really glad you could join us. And of course, in the link below here in this video, we're going to make sure that everybody's got your contact for Trevor Aboussafy, and of course, the repair professional, entrepreneur that we love to work with. And of course, any Facebook pages or email contact information, we'll be sure to provide that. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having possibly you again on maybe in the future for our Neighborhood Pro series in another matter, but appreciate the well-rounded vision we got today. Thank you for our viewers for joining us on this week's Neighborhood Pro series. Have a great afternoon.